I've asked a lot of my past clients, what are the surprising things they discovered or experienced when they bought a home here in Iowa? This video is a compilation of what they told me. Okay, here are 8 shocking truths about Iowa. They're not in any particular order, I'm just throwing them out there. If you have one to add, be sure to leave me a comment. Number 1, lack of fences in yards. This one was mentioned by a couple of people and it actually surprised me. In fact, they said they were shocked by the number of yards without fences. Because I grew up here in Iowa and I've lived the majority of my adult life here, this one definitely falls under the category of, I thought it was normal, but apparently not. I guess privacy fences are more the rule rather than the exception in other parts of the country. Yes, some people do have privacy fences here, but the fact of the matter is they're not allowed in a lot of newer neighborhoods in Iowa. Many homeowners associations have rules about fencing, and they specify that the only fencing allowed is black poly covered chain link. Why is that? My guess is that black poly chain link blends into the surroundings so your eye doesn't really focus on it when you're looking out over a span of yards. Also, I suspect it has to do with the weather. It's often quite windy here, and chain link allows that wind to just roll on through. If you had a solid fence, you'd end up with a big pile of leaves blown up against it or a snowdrift. The upper Midwest is, in general, a very neighborly and non-suspicious part of the country, so people probably don't feel like they need to hide everything away behind a fence like Fort Knox. People do use fences for utilitarian purposes, like keeping a dog in or having your children safely contained in your yard, but it's really not so much for security and privacy. 2, everything looks nice and clean here in Iowa. This was another comment I heard on repeat. These newly transplanted Iowans appreciate the lack of trash lying around. I went in search of some sort of study that might confirm that Iowa runs a tight ship on keeping things litter-free, but I didn't find anything especially official. I did find a thread on Reddit where people were talking about the best and the worst states for litter, and Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota are repeatedly called out for their sparkly cleanliness. One of the reasons Iowa is relatively litter-free compared to other states probably has to do with our can and bottle redemption law, which has been on the books since 1978. The law covers all carbonated and alcoholic beverages. Consumers have to pay a 5-cent deposit when purchasing one of these drinks, and then they receive a 5-cent refund when they return the container to a redemption center, which encourages people to save their nickels and not be litter bugs. 3, traffic, specifically the lack thereof. My Iowa transplants are consistently impressed with how easy traffic is to handle in Iowa, even during busy times, and how it just keeps moving and is very rarely backed up. As you can see here, Iowa ranks as one of the best states for low driving congestion, coming in as the 43rd least congested state to drive in. There are vast swaths of emptiness just outside population centers, which means the number of miles away something is basically equals the amount of time it will take you to get there. Although, in the sake of full disclosure, one past client does feel that Iowans obey the rules of the road only loosely. There was a study done in 2022 analyzing insurance claims that named Iowa drivers the 3rd worst in the nation, topped only by Utah and California. 4. This one is everyone's favorite topic because it's universal to the human experience: the weather. People are consistently surprised by Iowa's weather in one way or another, and they just don't understand the extremes that Iowa weather can swing to until they live here. Hot, hot, and cold, cold, and gray and windy for what seems like months straight, that wears on you. The winter doldrums are real. Now don't just let that part about the wind go in one ear and out the other. The amount of wind is a comment that was brought up by a lot of my clients. The wind can be relentless. Iowa has 4 true seasons, and each one has days that are glorious. For instance, the beginning of winter with the first few snows, it's just magical and it feels like living in a snow globe. But by February, when the snow is hard and dirty and crusty, or there's not even any snow to cover up the frozen brown ground, Everybody is over it. Iowa doesn't shut down for bad weather in the winter. Schools might close if the roads are too dicey, but otherwise it's business as usual. And in the summer, don't forget about the humidity. It makes things feel hotter in the summer, and actually the dampness in the air will make it feel colder in the winter. Sometimes it feels like you can't get warm no matter what you're wearing. 5, things move a little slower. Iowans enjoy a slightly slower pace of life. Don't be in too much of a hurry because things will happen when they happen. And if you're out there being a stress ball trying to get things done on your schedule, well, you're only going to make yourself look like a big jerk. So chill, dude. Number 6, Iowa nice. I know it sounds like an overused marketing ploy, but it's a trait consistently brought up by my clients when I ask them what they think of Iowa. Iowans are friendly and courteous. Iowans will help you even if they barely know you. Look at these texts I received when I asked my clients about their thoughts on Iowa. People are much nicer here and offer to help you out, even if they just met you. Some guy offered to help me cut down a tree in my yard, and I had only just met him. Iowa nice is a real thing. The level of courtesy and friendliness here is very high. The people are friendly here. People care about their community and quality of life. I know this sounds Pollyanna, but I truly love it here. 7, this comment I thought was insightful. My buyer Heidi said, people live here on purpose, not because they're trapped or they don't know any better. Lots of people make conscious decisions to stay, work, and live here. From the outside, people might think we're stuck here, but that's not the case. People are here because they love to be here. Number 8, Iowa is surprisingly beautiful in a quiet, understated type of way. I have texts from people telling me how much they love Iowa's sunsets, how they're amazed at the greenness of everything in the summer, how they love the stillness and muffled quiet after a snowfall, how they love watching the leaves turn color, or how they enjoy the diversity of wildlife around their house. They see things like deer and turkey, beavers, turtles, raccoons, rabbits, herons, and geese. Let's not forget about the corn. Corn, corn, corn. Oceans of corn planted in neat rows, waving gently in the wind and stretching on for miles. I'd love to know your thoughts on Iowa. Do any of these observations about Iowa surprise you? If you're thinking about making a move to Iowa, you should definitely hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my video content. I make videos all about Iowa, especially the Iowa City area and real estate in general. If you want to receive my monthly Iowa City area real estate newsletter, click the link in the description box down below. Hey, it's been fun, and I'll catch you later.